Pop or drop for this week's episode of Raw. I'm Will. That's Brandon. We're the Cousins Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers and let's talk about some wrestling, because holy shit, what just happened?
Oh my God. Obviously, we're recording this right after Raw ends.
Right after.
And good God, I mean, I don't really have words, so luckily we'll get into it. Maybe I can find some words.
It is jam-packed. Let's get right into it because, we got stuff to talk about. Right from the get-go, show starts, the intro's playing. As the intro's playing, something's off. The then, now, forever stuff glitching everywhere. Uncle Howdy is coming. If you followed the countdown clock that a QR code gave you a couple weeks back, or no, it was last week, the countdown clock ended, the second Raw started, and it said, "We are here." So, damn, we were looking good.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough not to be excited for this one.
We were looking good just from that, but then Seth Rollins' music hits.
Yeah, which actually with how the night went on, I kind of forgot that happened. Yeah, Seth Rollins came back, which, I mean, we follow everything. You guys follow everything.
Didn't see it coming.
Nothing.
No.
Absolutely nothing.
Not a word. He comes out, crowd is singing the song like he never left. He's looking good in the full white outfit, nice little hat on. He gets into the ring, he soaks it all in. The whole music's going. They're singing along. He gets in the ring and he says that he came back because not only did his whole career he not only wanted to be the best, but he wanted to be the best there ever was, like Bret Hart.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And the only way to do that is to regain his World Heavyweight Championship back. I mean, he got right to the point. He's back and he wants his title back. And he starts to talk about Money in the Bank because the briefcase is now officially hanging at the top. And he starts to talk about the idea of climbing up a ladder. And boom, Damian Priest music comes out, or hits. Damian Priest is now coming out. And he goes, "You know what? Just so you know, we love to have you back. It's good to see you." Starts off with that. He says, "I have all the respect in the world for you. In fact, when I had the briefcase, I wanted to cash it on you. One-on-one." That's what he wanted to do. He said, "I wanted to cash in on you, but this is no longer Monday Night Rollins. No. This is the place where we rise for El Champion." So that was a nice little thing. And Rollins goes, "You know what? We're actually alike, you and me. We both started in stables. I had the Shield, you had Judgment Day. We both won the Money in the Bank, and we both cashed it in on the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania, and we won our titles that way." But he goes, "The difference between you and me, I got a set. I got a set on me." And he was talking about them big old balls like the Miz, you know what I mean? He said, "What kind of champion do you want to be? Do you want to be great, or do you want to just be a part of the Judgment Day?" And Damian, that pisses him off because Damian goes, "You know what? If you don't think I'm a real champion, if you don't think I'm a real man, you don't need a briefcase. You don't need ladder matches. We'll just go one-on-one at Money in the Bank. So look at this. We're getting Seth Rollins versus Damian Priest at Money in the Bank." I give this segment a flat-out up.
Yeah.
Or a pop. Sorry. Pop.
Yeah, we're going to give it a pop. I think you have to give it a pop. You got Rollins coming back, who inserts himself right where he belongs in that title picture. A little bit weird having him come back. Obviously, we'll talk about the story, the feud as it progresses. Great to see him back. Nice to see Damian just kind of be like, "You know what? I'll take on anybody. I don't really care. I'm just better than everybody."
I did have a follow-up question about that, though. Is Damian Priest maybe a little bit too much of a fighting champ? Because the last two title matches, he has literally just walked out and given guys matches.
I would say no. I mean, I guess it's a double-edged sword. It's tough to say because you want to have a fighting champion. You want somebody that's not going to back down. I see what you mean about there being too much. I think maybe it's on purpose. I think somehow, some way, it's going to come back. It's going to backfire.
To haunt him.
Yeah.
It's like these guys get on his nerves too easy. He's letting them. It's too easy. I just think it's one of those things where we always talk about the idea of in WWE people not earning their title shots, but it just feels like the champion's running out there at this point and just handing them away to good guys here. And I guess there is the he wants to prove himself to Rollins type deal, but it was just a thought of, maybe make the guy win a match or something first.
Yeah, it's a little interesting. We've talked about kind of Priest in the past with his reign, and I gave my prediction on what I think happens in Money in the Bank. So I guess we'll talk about that again eventually, but it is weird for the champion just to hand out title shots like he's Oprah. You know, you get a title shot and you get a title shot and everybody gets a title shot. So it's a little weird. I wish they had some sort of number one contenders match.
Yeah.
That would be cool. But I can't complain. We went so long with, I mean, Roman not being there, not being on pay-per-views. And admittedly, we talk about, oh, well, championships only change hands at big pay-per-views, which has happened so far. But at least we're getting matches at some of the smaller ones. So
anyway, we moved it right on. It went to earlier in the day. Gable was with the Alpha Academy going up to Adam Pearce, and Gable was blaming the Alpha Academy per usual. He was saying, you know, we were in Scotland and I lost, but only because Maxine never does her job. Otis almost hit me, and Tozawa never shows up to work. And he goes, you know, do what's right here. Just give me another title match. And Adam Pearce is like, dude, you've had 5 of them. Literally 5 of them. It's time for you to get to the back of the line and earn it again. And he goes, you know what? I was an Olympic athlete. That's fine. Set up a match tonight versus whoever you want. You don't even need to tell me, and I'll earn my way back. So that would then lead to the present, where Gable would walk out to the ring with the Alpha Academy, Maxine on her crutches, still selling the leg, versus the Unknown. We come back from break. They're in the ring. Who is it? Roar! It's one big son of a bitch. Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman walks out, and you and I immediately go, This could be good.
Yeah,
especially you lately have been you know, very criticizing of Braun Strowman's place in the company at the moment. Just sort of something that he always has. Mm-hmm. So we were like, you know what, Gable is one of the top storylines in all of wrestling. This is a good place to put him. This might be some magic here. It wasn't magic. The size difference was obviously a big play. Gable was literally half his size, and the commentary was talking about it.
Yeah, anyway, you know it's pretty bad when Michael Cole goes, look how small that guy is. Yeah. When Michael Cole says that, like, oh, okay, yeah.
Pat McAfee was like, but he's an Olympic athlete, Cole. Anyway, this weird thing was happening where Braun was beating the hell out of Gable and also like giving him a pep talk. He was like, I don't like bullies. And he was smacking Gable, and he's like, you shouldn't be bullying them. And you smack him again. Then he looked out to the Alpha Academy, and he was like, you guys deserve better. Just remember this. And I don't know why I'm doing Vince McMahon's voice, but that's what was happening. And it would end up with Gable on the outside of the ring, and Braun was like, you know, time to do my thing. I'm going to do my spot that I do. And he went to run around the ring to shoulder tackle Gable, and Gable was like, nah, Tozawa, you showed up to work, so you're going to work. And he threw Tozawa at Braun, and Braun stopped himself, but that's just Gable sacrificing his guys again.
Yeah, then he just throws Tozawa right back at Gable. So
yeah, then he just literally throws him at Gable. And then literally right after that's done, Gable would roll back into the ring. Braun would go in there, give him this like super power slam. It was like his normal running power slam, but with a little bit more like movement in it.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Gable loses this. I guess we'll add in the post-match stuff because that's kind of where we're getting to, though. Gable then points to the Alpha Academy, and he'd be like, everybody in the ring. Everybody get in the ring. And immediately he starts roasting Tozawa. He's like, why didn't you help me? And all this stuff. And then Maxine intervenes in her crutch. And Gable's like, you know what? I hate you. Give me your crutch. I'm going to beat Tozawa with it. And then they're like, no. And he throws the crutch, but he throws the crutch out of the ring. And then he's like, Maxine, get out of the ring. And now she's like skipping on one foot. She's like, I can't. Then he gets back into Tozawa's face, smacks the shit out of him. And then finally Otis is like, you know what? Nope, done with this. He walks up and shoves the shit out of Gable. Just full form tackle, shoves him. Gable goes flying into the corner, and Otis gives him a big stare down. Crowds pop in, but Otis decides that's it for today. So he has officially gotten physical with Gable. Yeah, that was the whole segment. It's going to be a classic pop and a drop here. The match is a huge drop. I mean, just a huge drop. But a pop for me from Alpha Academy stuff continues to be entertaining to me.
Yeah, I'm going to drop the match as well. Once again, I guess when we first saw Braun, we thought, oh man, this could be really good.
Yeah.
And then we also realized, oh, this is just Braun Strowman once again progressing somebody else's storyline.
Yep.
That's what he does. He's a monster that just progresses storylines for other people. Would like to have him be taken seriously somehow.
Yeah.
Some way.
Yeah.
Do something. But
please.
Yeah. I mean,
hey, he does he points to his shirt now.
Yeah, he was pointing SOB
Yeah.
to the crowd. SOB. So I guess that's a thing now.
Yeah, character development.
In terms of the him trash talking Gable and like also hyping up Alpha Academy, it's weird because Braun's a giant, and like I don't know, I feel like a giant shouldn't be like trying to give like a moral compass of like, you guys need
especially
to do what's right.
Braun's moral compass is like, I just eat what's in front of me, bro. Like, this has been his whole career, and it's like immediately people are gonna be like, you guys are literally talking about his character development, and this is some sort of character development. But it's like, that's out of nowhere and just completely out of left field for him.
Yeah, and I don't know if he took it upon himself to do that, maybe, but Gable looked good in the ring, as we always say. Gable's good in the ring. As for the stuff post match, it's got to be an up, a pop. I mean, the Alpha Academy stuff is probably the best storyline. You could argue it's like one or two storyline for WWE right now. It's nice to see that kind of progress, even though it was almost kind of the same stuff we've been getting where Otis teases it, but there's just a little bit more.
Well, now what this Raw definitely cemented is that Chad Gable is no longer in the Intercontinental title scene. That is done. And so it begs the question of like, is this Chad Gable, Otis, Alpha Academy storyline good enough to have a match that doesn't include a title? Is it a good enough standalone?
I think it's proven that it is.
Yeah.
I think you also mentioned it when we were watching it, that storyline, like I said, is one or two right now for the company. So to have that trust, and we're always like, well, it needs a title. Well, it's shown now that it doesn't have to.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
And now you get Otis on his own, and you can kind of have him lead Alpha Academy. Obviously, you could have Gable go on with the Creed brothers whenever he decides to get them. But overall, like, Alpha Academy's over.
Yeah.
So you have to keep them on screen. You have to. I mean, that pop tonight for Otis and him just like he didn't do anything. He just kind of
hulking up,
awkwardly kind of flexed a little bit, Otis'd up, and people love it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. We were very, very critical of Sammy not dropping the belt to Gable, and I guess I should have waited a moment before I judged it, because now seeing it with my own eyes without Sammy, it's like, okay, yeah, Sammy didn't need to be in this at all. Yeah, that's 100% right. You don't need a belt. The Maxine, Tozawa, Otis taking care of them, that's enough for me to take care. And whenever Otis does end up destroying Gable, it's going to be a pop for the century. So
yeah, and it's nice to see, before we move on to the next point, it's nice to see kind of like back in the day, they used to have matches that were just like feuds. Like, I don't like you anymore. You don't like me anymore. There's no title. We just don't like each other.
Yeah.
And I feel like with the Triple H era, as it's kind of gone on and started to really gain some steam lately, you see that more often.
Yeah.
You see 100%. Kind of just dislike and disdain for each other.
100%. We then moved on. Pat McAfee broke down the Liv and Dom drama. It was freaking hilarious. He was pointing out the fact that Finn Balor has the room key. So it's not just a fans online pointing it out. It's an official thing that WWE is pointing out. And that goes to Judgment Day being backstage. All of them were there, where Damian calls out Balor for it. He's like, what were you doing with the key, dude? And Finn was like, dude, I took it to protect Dom. Chill. And then Damian was like, dude, you have a Money in the Bank match tonight. So also, like, what are your intentions with my Money in the Bank briefcase? I'm the champ. And he's like, I'm going to cash it in for a world title. On Cody's world title. So that was good stuff. That was good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to pop or drop it, but good stuff there. I am sweating my ass off.
As you should.
It's hot down here. Also pointed out in that same segment, Dom pointed out that he lost his vest.
Mm-hmm. It's purple
cow vest.
Cow vest, yes.
Purple cow vest. Anyway, we had our first match of the night. Women's Money in the second match of the night. Women's Money in the Bank first qualifier match. Women's Money in the Bank qualifier match. Triple threat match. Io Sky, Kiana James, Zelina Vega. And we were both sitting here like, I don't know who's going to win this one. Io Sky comes out. She's still crazy as ever. She just is going crazy. That's her character now.
Yeah.
Great match. Good fast-paced stuff here. Triple threat matches were kind of that way all night. Fast-paced. Everybody was trying to get their offense in, which is good enough. You're getting a lot of talent on the screen, so that's good. But Io would do her moonsault. to the outside of the ring, and then Zelina was also up there, and she would do her meteor drop on the outside of the ring. Pretty good.
Meteora?
Meteora, yeah. But she would point at the briefcase.
Right then you knew.
Right then you
She
knew.
not winning tonight.
Right then you knew. There was a superplex from Io to Zelina and Kiana. And this would lead to Kiana taking a bigger part of the bump, and Io and Zelina would then take over the match kind of in a one-on-one action. They've had much more ring work, so they trusted the middle of the match to go to those girls while Kiana kind of rested up. She's new. Kiana would then get back in the ring at some point, and she showcased a bunch of her stuff. She would do a gut wrench power bomb that looked pretty good. You know, this having a bunch of people in triple threat matches for qualifiers, you got to get their offense in. This is a good time to show off Kiana. They showed her off a little bit. Yeah. Zelina would use a 619 into a code red, but Kiana would break the pin. But then Liv would come out because last week Zelina pulled Liv off of Dom.
And pushed her also.
Yeah, and pushed her. So Liv wanted to return the favor tonight. And Zelina would get out onto the ring apron and be like, "What are you doing here?" Kiana would get thrown. Io would throw Kiana in to Zelina. She'd fall off. They'd get into a little bit of a scuffle outside of the ring, which would lead to she would go and do her over the moonsault. Io would do the over the moonsault to Kiana. Io would win. So she gets to move on to the Queen of the Ring, or not Queen of the Ring, the Women's Money in the Bank match.
There we go.
This was fine. This was good stuff. As I said, showcase of women. Io is going to be great in the match, so I'll give it a pop.
Yeah, I have always been critical on here and before we started the podcast about triple threat matches.
Yeah.
Don't really like them. Well, it was the night of the triple threat, so I just kind of had to eat my words. Until you said, hey, it's a way to get more talent on screen at a time. You can kind of showcase Kiana. She's the muscle of the match. We didn't know who was going to win the match because, I mean, you have Zelina there, you have Kiana, you're like, and then Io just won last year. So it's like, is she really going to win again? Like, to qualify again? Have Liv come out and, was she in Dom's?
Oh, yeah, she was in the vest. Sorry, I should have pointed that out.
Yeah,
she came out in the vest.
Yeah, so right then and then you're like, oh, watch out now. So overall, I'm going to give that a pop. Io wins. Io should have won. She would have been my pick to win.
Did Io actually win?
Is this a trick question?
Yeah, because Zelina got attacked from Liv. Why does she need to win the Money in the Bank match when she's just going to get her title match straight up because she is feuding with Liv now?
Yeah, but she's not going to win. She's not going to win that match.
Yeah, but like just skip the Money in the Bank match and go right for the
title.
title.
Well, you know what? That's a thing because Liv doing it, I guess, kind of. Damien's doing it. Everybody's doing it. Cody kind of does it.
Just if you're a WWE superstar, just attack a champion.
Or just walk out there and maybe champion comes out and says, hey, you want a match? And you're like, okay.
Yeah, that's true. Sami Zayn would then come out, speaking of champions, and he would say, I'm still Intercontinental Champion, blah, blah, blah. I literally wrote that down. He would say, officially, I am moving on from Chad Gable, but I do feel for Alpha Academy. I've been in that situation. He basically like gave him the good luck, bro. And then Braun Breaker would come out. When we were ready for it. We were like, you know what? If you're gonna move on from Chad, Braun be pretty good with that belt. He comes in the ring and he says, I've left bodies laying here and you are next. I am taking that title belt. And then they would stare down for a second and then Sheamus' music would hit. Yeah. Sheamus. And he would say, what did he say? He said, what's the crack? He said, hello to my fellow Ginger Linger is what he called Sami Zayn. And then he said, I've been chasing that title for years, putting on banger after banger. And Braun would be like, dude, you haven't even looked at me. You need to, that's not okay. I will kill you. Like, look at me. Acknowledge that I'm in this ring. And Sheamus was like, look, to me, you're still just the new kid, man. You're still just the new kid. And so get to the back of the line. That's what he told him. Mm-hmm. And Sammy was like, okay, there's a lot of stuff going on between you two right now. So, like, I'm going to go talk to Adam Pearce. You guys cool the match? And they just stood there and stared at each other. But the entire crowd was like, yeah, we'd like to see that. So, all in all, this was a long enough segment where I think we should pop or drop it. I'm going to give it a pop. Put in Braun, Sheamus, Sammy in a ring together. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to pop it as well. Immediately when Sammy came out, I was like, God. I mean, here we go.
Blah, blah,
but
blah.
then it's like, let's see who he's going to go against. Yeah. What's the next feud?
Well, sorry to cut you off there, but also when he was standing out there alone, like but people need to understand that the entire night we're going, is it going to be Sammy getting attacked by Howdy? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
They did a really good job of like building the suspense up
Yeah,
throughout the night. And I guess we should have realized, as we'll get to later, it was going to be the last thing.
Yeah.
But admittedly, we're like, man, who's Sammy going to face? If you watch the Clash review, I had given my opinion. I thought Braun Breaker would be a great.
You did.
I did say I thought it was a little too early, but I was like, yeah, let's see what the kids got, whatever.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm going to pop that segment, and obviously we get that match later on tonight.
It's not too early because he's goated. We then get a Dragon Lee promo, real quick video package about him wanting revenge on Carlito, and that would lead to a match a little bit later. But we would get a quick interview with Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, new champions here. They said we'll take on anyone. We're ready for the challenge. And then Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark walked right in and said,
Wouldn't you know?
And I love WWE doing this nowadays. Whenever something goes a little bit wrong in the match, they just flat out acknowledge it. Shayna was like, look, I made Jade tap out. Like, we saw it. We should have won. And Alba Fire and Isla Dawn was like, you know what? You made her tap, but like it didn't count, so we're champs. And Shayna and Zoe basically like, we have our mindset on Money in the Bank right now, so one of them may be in a match or something, but we want those titles. So
yeah, Shayna's in a match, I believe, next week.
Yeah,
but that's obviously going to be the feud that they are going to do. So maybe Isla Dawn, Alba Fire, maybe they defend against Jade and Bianca on like a SmackDown randomly between now and maybe SummerSlam.
Yeah,
but if you give me Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, can't believe I'm going to say this. I would like that match with how they booked Shayna Baszler at least. So nice to see them just kind of like, okay, yeah, like you said, acknowledge it. And I mean, Shayna and Zoe looked probably the best team.
Totally down for it. Looking forward to it, actually. But then we would get our Dragon Lee versus Carlito match. Carlito would come out with Dom and JD McDonough. Dragon Lee basically led this match fully. I love Carlito. I have nostalgia for Carlito, but that man shouldn't have been in the ring with Dragon Lee tonight. There was a couple good spots here. There was one where Dragon Lee tried to do a springboard crossbody to the outside of the ring on Carlito, but he would catch him and throw him into the barricade. That looked pretty good. He would do a over the top rope. So Carlito was standing on the outside of the ring on the apron, and Dragon Lee would jump over the rope and Hurricane Rana him out to the outside of the ring. Very good stuff there. It was another Dragon Lee showcase with Carlito just taking bumps here and there and getting a little bit of offense to be sort of relevant. But Dom was there. Mm-hmm. So here comes Liv.
Yes.
She comes out and she's wearing the vest. Got the purple cow vest on. Michael Cole could not tell what color it was. He was calling it pink.
He might be colorblind.
Which
shout out if you are Michael Cole. I'm also colorblind.
Yeah. So but she comes out and Dom's on the ring like, what are you doing here and how did you get my vest, bro? Mm-hmm. And she's walking up to him and the second that she touches him, Zelina Vega runs out. Mm-hmm. She runs out and starts attacking Liz. Everybody on the outside is going crazy. Ray and Dom are attacking each other because Ray came out with Dragon Lee. Yeah.
Joaquin Wilde, he's a nice face full of steps when Dom moves out the way and throws Joaquin into him.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Dragon Lee's on the top rope getting ready to do a move to Carlito on the inside of the ring. JD McDonough takes this chaos as a way to, the ref's like, what is going on? He gets up, yanks on Dragon Lee's legs so that he, good old Dragon Lee's hit the top of the turnbuckle. He kind of turns from it like, and Carlito comes over and hits a backstabber and pins Dragon Lee clean. Or not clean, but pins Dragon Lee 1, 2, 3. Carlito wins. I even know that the Liv Dom stuff is good. I'm giving this all a drop. It's 2024. Carlito, I don't care what way you do it. Carlito shouldn't be beating Dragon Lee in a match.
Yeah, and even on the backstabber, like Dragon Lee's like kind of propped up in the turnbuckle, like in the corner. So Carlito, I guess, doesn't really have to get up as high, maybe. Match was not great. Like you said, it shouldn't have been Carlito there. I'm gonna give it a drop as well. I just don't know how many more times we can have some iteration of LWO and Judgment Day. I'm going to fight you. This one's going to fight you. But the next week, this one's going to fight the first guy. And the first guy's going to fight the third guy. And I'm just kind of over that.
Given what ended up happening with Jey Uso later in the night, a.k.a. the Money in the Bank stuff, I really don't understand the overall direction of Judgment Day as a whole right now. Because they don't come out with Damian. Like, they're really not a thing with Damian at this point, which is good. So I don't see, are they just destined to feud with LWO and Braun Strowman until time's end?
Maybe, which is kind of unfortunate. I think they're kind of in a weird spot. I mean, I'll say it again. I think Damian Priest is going to get cashed in on by Finn Balor. Maybe that gives Judgment Day a new direction because you've got Dom is off here with Liv.
But that can't happen.
What?
That can't happen.
What can't?
Finn can't cash in.
Why not?
Yeah. Spoilers.
Why? Because he lost. He's going to have another match.
Oh, we'll see.
You're telling me the third week they're not going to run the loser and the loser versus somebody else?
Good point.
It's going to happen.
Anyway, we'll move on. Drew is up next. He's walking. He's mad. He's pissed about what happened in Clash of the Castle. And we're about to go to commercial break when more Uncle Howdy disruption comes. But this time, like giving like faces and stuff. So that was something to watch out
Which
for.
was, I don't mean to cut you off here, but to have like the Howdy stuff, you have it like randomly in the intro. And then like before you've had it with like Gable and you've had it with some random people. But to have it on Drew, like Drew's obviously one of the hottest guys, and it's like, okay.
And just because I can't point out certain moments, like if you go online, like throughout the night, hidden behind people in their promos and stuff were, the old Rabbit toy and Husky, the Husky Harris, and all of Bray's old toys. They showed up in very, very small areas. So it was just something to watch for, especially it was cool to watch and be on my phone at the same time and see what people were finding because there was a lot of Easter eggs.
Yeah, and a lot of people are way better at that than we
I
are.
saw none of them live.
The rabbit, the pig, the symbol, just great stuff.
Anyway, we move on. Drew's mad, but we go to Gable because he's mad too. Gable goes backstage and he starts yelling at Otis for hitting him. He's like, "What the hell, man?" And Alpha Academy is packing up. And Otis looks at Gable and goes, "We're done." And Gable goes, "You don't tell me when you're done. You know what? You're expelled." And then he sits there for a moment and he gets real quiet. He's realizing Alpha Academy might be done. And he goes, "I'm going to do something that Otis could never dream of us doing. I'm going to win the Money in the Bank and I'm going to cash in and win the World Championship." So I guess Alpha Academy is officially done for the time being.
Yeah. And then you got a match next week. Gable versus Big Bronson Reed, who is a big man to progress storylines, and Braun Strowman, who's a big man to progress storylines. So I think we know who's winning that match.
We're progressing storylines here. Then a very cool thing happened here. A very not cool thing if it's real, which it's not, but very unexpected thing here.
Kayfabe.
Drew comes out. Cool for kayfabe. Drew comes out mad, ready to fight though. He's in his kilt, everything. Normally he doesn't do that when he's just walking out there, but Drew comes out to the ring. And second he gets in the ring, crowd just CM Punk. And he's just sitting there looking around, shaking his head, looking disappointed. And all he says is this: "I can't do this anymore. Screw this company. I quit." He doesn't even yell it. That's the tone. Just screw this company. I quit. Gets out of the ring, walks out. Drew McIntyre has quit. What a time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have much more to add. I guess obviously we don't think that that's it because Punk is on SmackDown, surprisingly, in Chicago.
Yeah.
Going to be some payback, obviously. But to have them go this way, I think it's a nice way to kind of give Drew the night off. You acknowledge him, give him some character growth, though, as well. Struggling with like the idea of it or whatever. So now it's just what's going to happen on SmackDown on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he did actually quit, right, in real life. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was unexpected. I was expecting him to come out and just do the thing once again where he comes out where CM Punk's not here tonight. So he has to trash talk the camera and CM Punk. But instead, this was quick. It was emotional. He didn't lose his temper, but it was like emotional. Like he literally was like, "You know what? I'm just done. I'm out." Yeah. And he hit Triple H in the back, and Triple H was like, "What are you doing, man? You're not leaving." He's like, "Yeah, I am. I'm out." So
yeah, and I think everybody in life has been at that point where you're done with a job or you're done with a sport or maybe friends or whatever the case may be. So it's very relatable. Like I've done everything I can do and I'm just over this. I don't do this anymore.
He'll be quitting until Friday night when he whoops CM Punk's ass in Chicago. So I can't wait for that. Pop, by the way.
Yeah. If we're gonna give a pop, it's a quick segment. Typically we don't give the quick segments.
But that's a big deal.
But it's meaningful.
Yeah.
So we'll give it a pop.
We had a tag team, women's tag team match. The women's tag team division is now a thing, and that's good. Dakota Kai and Kairi Sane are taking on Kaden Carter and Katana Chance because of their run-in last week. This happened. It happened. Damage control attack before the bell. Katana Chance and Carter were getting a lot of good tag team offense in, which is always good to see. There was an insane elbow that Katana Chance then would come over and break the count up. That was a close fall. Then Lyra Valkyria would show up and support her friendly neighborhood Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. I know. And then Kaden Carter and Katana Chance would hit their finisher, the After Party, and they would win. This would lead to Io Sky saying damage control needs to change, and I'm about to change it. I'm just gonna give this a drop. Lyra Valkyria had so much steam for her during the Queen of the Ring tournament, and I just think this is the least interesting way to get her involved in any storyline.
Yeah, you saw me
Yeah.
checking my watch because this match took about 2:30, and I think Will talked maybe longer than the match itself.
Legit.
Like you said, I agree with your points. I also understand it's a point to push the damage control narrative that something has to change. Dakota Kai, Kairi saying they're too good to be involved in some random thing
Break
like
them all
this.
up.
So there's got to be something they're going to do, but I mean, good Lord, I don't want to see Dakota Kai, Kairi Sane, or Io Sky in just meaningful or meaningless, I should say, matches.
Yeah.
It's a waste of everybody's time at that point.
And Lyra.
Yeah.
So dropping it.
Yeah, I don't think that's a question. Yeah.
We then get the banger to be Sheamus versus Braun Breaker. Sammy comes out. We thought he was on commentary, but he ended up just sitting there.
Yeah, I was very excited to see him on commentary, and he was not.
This match immediately would pour the outside of the ring. They would just basically immediately hit each other out. Braun would go do his run in the ropes where Michael Cole would remind us that he runs it at 23 miles an hour, and he'd run the ropes and clothesline the absolute shit out of Sheamus. This match was slow. It was methodical, but it was good stuff. They were working stiff, as always in a Sheamus match. That's why they're bangers, because he's not afraid to get hit or hit. And that's what you need in some wrestling matches. Sheamus would then do a running clothesline off the ramp to Braun, but Braun would get the upper hand, go back into the ring. He'd get on the apron and do a jumping clothesline. He would just jump flat-footed from the apron to the announce table. He had his legs up to where he was clotheslining and sliding over the announce table at once onto Sheamus.
Yeah. Dude
is an athletic freak like no other.
Yeah.
I mean, just absolutely insane. Braun would then go on a little bit of his own rampage. They were giving him a showcase, throwing Sammy or Sheamus around, just really manhandling him. Really, really, really good stuff here. Unfortunately, Braun did botch a Frankensteiner. We're very popular right now for our botches take. And I stand by the sentiment here. Braun's had only good showings so far in WWE since he got called up. He made one mistake here, and they recovered instantly. So,
yeah, it has to. I have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Some of the other ones that we've seen, I would say they're kind of building up. They weren't into the full momentum of the match, whereas this one I thought was. I mean, that's kind of almost like a go-home move for him. So the momentum was definitely kind of taken out there for a split second. You're like, would have liked to see that. Props to both guys, though. They kind of just kept going. And as you'll get to at the end of the match, it kind of is forgotten about a little bit. But as we said, and as we told you guys, we're going to call them out when they need to be.
Yep.
So it needed to be said because I've seen him hit that move.
Oh, yeah.
A bunch.
It's great when he does it.
It looked bad tonight.
Yeah, it took the steam out of the match there for a second, but especially because you could tell that he kind of had a moment of damn it, needed to hit that. But it was all good. Braun would then go for a spear when Sheamus would knee the shit out of him. I mean, just loudly, nailed him. Sheamus would then start to load up the bro kick when Ludwig Kaiser shows up. Pulls him out of the ring and hits him. So match ding ding. Sheamus technically wins by disqualification here. Luke would start beating up Sheamus on the outside, but Sheamus would actually get the upper hand and kind of start beating up Ludwig. But Braun was like, I came to have match and kill somebody, so I'm going to do it. Braun would run out, spear the ever-living shit out of Sheamus. Mm-hmm. And then, now every time Braun spears somebody, they have security come out because he killed Ricochet, right?
Yeah.
So he goes out, leaving Ludwig. So he gets pushed to the stage, leaving Ludwig alone with Sheamus, and Ludwig was like, I'm going to attack his knee. So he set up Sheamus's leg on the steel steps on the far side of the set. So like the set's here, ring here, and then they're on this side with the set. So they're near the announce tables. Ludwig would back up to the set, and he would go to run to do something like a kick.
He does that thing that he sent Vinci out with, and it's where he like kind of smashes their knee into like the steps.
Yeah. He was going to do like a career injury to Sheamus here, but Braun would get away from the security of the set, and Braun would run on the opposite side of the ring. So they're running on opposite sides of the ring and meet in the middle, and Braun speared the shit out of Ludwig Kaiser. This whole thing was just what it needed to be. It can be nothing but a pop for me.
Props to the cinematic, like above ring angle too, to show them both running around at the same time. Because you're like, oh my god, it's gonna happen, and then it does. It's got to be a pop.
Yeah,
great way to build Braun up. I admittedly kind of at the start of the match and then throughout the match was like, what happened to Ludwig Kaiser?
Yeah.
What happened to Kaiser?
The entire time you were like, where is he?
What happened to him? Sheamus lost to him and now he's just off TV. What's going on here? Obviously, the plays into it. Braun looks like $1 million. You still got the Kaiser and Sheamus thing going. Looks like Braun's going to be the next guy to go after Sammy.
No, I have written down. I think. Are we going to get Ludwig versus Sheamus versus Braun for a title opportunity?
Wow. No, I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe, but I think Braun kind of showed he's just going to destroy everybody.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's what they're building him up, and maybe he has a shot versus Sammy, but maybe he loses it. Maybe he doesn't get the belt, which I would not like that. But it was a great way to showcase him. I don't like triple threats, so maybe that's why I'm kind of like hesitant on it.
Well, no matter what, it looks like Braun's up next for the Intercontinental Championship, and that is just going to be so great. I hope we talk about how we don't like long title reigns, but this is another person where I'm like, put the belt on him and let him just destroy people for like a good amount of time.
Yeah, and throughout the night, it was good to see. You saw the in-ring. Obviously, he did have the botch, but recovered from that well. Looked great in the ring after the match. Also, him on the mic in the promo earlier in the night, I thought was good.
Yeah,
it was passable.
Yep.
I know some people are pretty critical of promo skills. Sometimes we like some guys, people don't, but I thought he was passable.
I couldn't give a shit about his mic work right now. Dude just spears people and looks awesome in the ring. And he's also making like Sheamus look strong here. It's not like he's giving the other guys that deserve offense. It's not just like 5-minute matches where he does a few moves and that's it. He's giving long matches, bangers. I'm ready for this guy to take the next step.
Yeah, and he doesn't need to do a whole lot on the mic.
No.
He doesn't need to say a lot. That I think that's obviously his weak point. But it was nice. He was passable in a little bit he did say. The few words he says mean more. So
we move on. Dom is looking for his vest, but he knows where it is, right? It's on Liv. He's got to find Liv.
Mm-hmm.
He finds Liv in a like a little back area, a little hallway next
back
to a
hallway.
room. Yeah. He's like, dude, give me my vest, please. And he walks up to her and she says, "You want your vest? You got to take it off me yourself." And Dom's like, God, he looks around. He's like, shit, I got to do this. He starts to unzip her.
Oh, wait a second. No. She says, I can help you.
No,
I can help start it or whatever.
Yeah, okay. She starts a little bit, but Dom starts doing it. And then in the background, you just see Daddy Damien. He's like, what are you doing there, Sonny? But he's like, Dom, what are you? He walks up there and he's like, what are you doing? And Dom's like, I swear I was just trying to get my vest. And Damien's like, just get out of here. Let me talk to her. He's like, stay away from him, man.
He does get the vest back.
Yeah, he gets the vest back. He's like, Liv, leave him alone. Come on. And Liv goes, I think he doesn't want me to leave him alone. That's all that happens back there. Whew. Liv was here multiple times tonight. We didn't really talk about this. I'll give that a pop. That's good stuff, man.
Yeah, it's a pop. You don't really, I mean, I understand she has the title. So in terms of people might be pissed because, well, she has the title. She's not putting on matches. I don't really care at this point.
It's just good
stuff.
stuff.
I think most people don't care.
Yeah.
I think there's probably a minority of people that are like, she has the belt. She needs to wrestle.
Yeah.
These storylines, the storyline right now is getting so good and it's going to build for her and Rhea whenever that does eventually happen. But that's worth the wait.
Yeah. And right now they're obviously trying to build the women's tag division. So they're letting the stars go there. But completely agree. I'm normally a guy who's like, you have a belt, defend the belt. Everybody knows how I feel about the tag team champions right now. But Liv is a part of such a good story overall that it really outshines her need to just throw the belt up. So
Yeah.
very good stuff. We love Liv.
And to that point, you said they're putting everybody in the tag division. I mean, who would you pick for her fight?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So there is nobody.
Exactly.
Just diminished stock of both of them, probably. So
very quickly, I want to touch Karrion Kross challenged either Kofi or Xavier Woods to a fight next week, where then Xavier Woods and Kofi were starting to they cut their own promo about how great they are, but Kofi did start cutting off Xavier Woods, and before Xavier Woods could even get a word out, Kofi Kingston accepted the one-on-one without even consulting with Xavier, so it looks like we are going to get some sort of New Day split eventually here. Nothing to really touch on it yet, but it was part of the show. It's going to be built, so.
yeah, I don't know if we're giving us pops or drops for that.
No.
But Cross comes on the screen, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, can we not do this? But as much as I said, man, I'd hate seeing a New Day split. I wouldn't like it. They shouldn't do it. The Woods interaction with Kofi tonight, I was like, you know what? I'm intrigued to see where it goes. I'm intrigued to see what happens. I don't want him to split, but I was like, you know what? I do kind of like that.
Honestly,
jealousy
there's so much good stuff happening on Raw right now that it just is like, yeah, I'll put that in a file cabinet right now, and if it intrigues me later, I'll pull it out. You know?
Yeah, they do have a match next week. We'll progress that and see what happens.
We'll see. Anyway, we get to our main event. No Howdy yet. What's going on, man? Why is Howdy not going to show up tonight? That's what we were just thinking. We're looking at our watches. Everybody in the arena is looking at their watches. Like, not a lot of time left.
People in the comments on the TikTok, on the YouTube, were all like, "It's not happening. It's not happening. It's not happening."
Yeah, I was like, if it doesn't happen tonight, we're gonna get roasted.
And I had mentioned to you before we get deep into the match and everything, I was like, man, it would really suck if they just had the animals in the background and just like, they're here, but it's just all the random toys and stuffed animals.
Anyway, Jay, before the match, would get a mic and he'd walk out there. He had a mic. He said, I'm going to do this for all my yeeters out there. He said, I'm coming for the yeet case. We should have trademarked it. That was our idea. Anyway, we have our Money in the Bank qualifier match. Jay Uso versus Rey Mysterio versus Finn Balor to main event. This match was a triple threat match. It was fast paced. Guys were doing move into the other guys' moves. It was hard to write down and follow. It's just one of those matches, especially with guys like Finn Balor, Rey Mysterio in the ring who can just flip a doodle around all the time. Yeah. Rey can just go even though he's 100 years old.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. We talk about it every week. Every week we see Rey, and every week I'm like, damn it, I gotta watch another Rey Mysterio match, admittedly, because I'm like, I want to see some of the new guys. Hey, Rey's old. And then I see Rey in the ring, and I'm like, damn it, Rey's still really good.
He's just great. He will never be bad. He will be 90 years old doing springboards, I swear to you. Anyway, I will say, I'm just going to read what I had here. Jay would go for his spit move, where he does a little, he does that thing, the Rock spit move. Uh-huh. He would hit that, and then Rey Mysterio would cross body him, and then Rey Mysterio would jump up. Finn would then get up from getting hit, and then Rey would go for another springboard crossbody. As we said, Rey Mysterio is just great. Jay would then get a spear off on Rey into a 1-2. Ooh.
Good spear. We usually talk trash on his spears. That was a good spear.
Good spear. Balor would hit Jay off the ropes. Rey would then 619 Balor's guts because Balor was standing on the ring apron. And then throw Finn Balor back. No, Rey would then do the sliding suicide dive thing that he does.
Yeah, baseball slide.
Yeah, baseball slide suicide dive thing onto Finn Balor. He would get him up, throwing in the ring. He would hit him with a 619. And then Jay would enter the ring. He'd kick Jay, put him on the ropes, 619 to Jay. He would go for that double jump to finish off the 619. But he would kind of just like nudge them, and they would both fall into the ropes again. And he would double 619 them. He would go up to the rope again to do a finisher jump on it. And then Judgment Day came out. Rest of Judgment Day. They came out to screw Rey Mysterio because it's a triple threat match. There are no disqualifications, right? Mm-hmm. So Dominic Mysterio is the one who screws him, gets him outside the ring. JD and Dom are beating him up. Boom, boom, boom. We're bad guys. Braun Strowman's still in this, guys. He's still part of this Judgment Day thing, right? And he just comes running, and Judgment Day doesn't even let him get touched. I mean, there's like, we hear the theme music, we're running. So they just hop the barricade, and they just go.
Everybody runs.
Braun follows. Rey is somehow still just like in the match, even though he got screwed there. Mm-hmm. He continues to have offense. But anyway, Finn would then it would end up where Rey would come into the ring, and Finn would get him on his shoulders and just slam him over. Finn would go up to the top rope. He would hit him with the coup de grace, and he would hit him, fall backward, and then pin Ray. So his back, he was doing one of those like layout pins where he's laying on him. And here comes Jey Uso, big frog splash off the top rope, Jey splash, yeet splash. 1, 2, 3, Jey Uso wins the Money in the Bank qualifier match here. I really hated the Judgment Day Braun stuff, but overall, this was just a fast-paced, fun match, so I will give this a pop.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a pop as well. You have Jey Uso winning, excuse me, getting all choked up over here. Jey Uso's kind of everybody's favorite to win Money in the Bank, so he's going to obviously be the first one to qualify. We were kind of speculating what the hell is going to happen the rest of the night, but good match, like you said. I do see Finn still qualifying as well.
I hope.
I think it would make the most sense. And good match. Jay's Jay at this point. Whether you like him, whether you hate him, whether you think he's a fifth grader.
Geeter,
I think somebody said in the comments. Is what it is. But you end the match and you got about 7-8 minutes left. They start rolling the package at the end, and you're thinking to yourself,
good Lord.
Ah, man.
I wish we had a better setup so I could like mess with the lights or something. But ladies and gentlemen, I wrote down some notes here. Obviously, we filmed this directly after Raw. So if people have diagnosed this thing and just, probably looked into it now, and there's probably a lot more information out about like who was on the ground and stuff. But man, oh man, Jay is celebrating, and then the lights go out. They go to the stage, camera goes to the stage, and all you see is an outline of a door because there's a bright light coming from behind it, smoke.
Yeah, which is what, I believe it was SummerSlam or something like that a few years
against
ago.
LA Knight.
And then, when he originally debuted that character, I think there was that door, and then Luke Harper obviously had that door as well. So it was kind of cool to see that part. I was like, damn, they're bringing that back. Okay.
So the smoke happens, and it gets close to the door, and the door open. And when the door opens, light shut off. And then all you see is this woman, gross ass looking woman, covered in blood, and she was wearing a mask. It's all ripped up, and she's crawling like the girl from one of those.
The Grudge?
Yeah, the Grudge. Yeah, exactly, like the Grudge. And she's crawling up to something. There's a light there. It's Bray's old
lantern.
Old lantern, man. You can make a grown man cry with that. She starts crawling up to the lantern. She stands up, and she just points to the back.
Yeah, and at this point, before we get any farther, when she pointed, I was like, oh, here comes Howdy.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I thought he was just going to come out the door.
Uh-huh.
Not what happened. The cameraman would then go back to where they would enter Gorilla, but not quite into Gorilla yet. And you just see bodies laying on the floor, just laying there with a big old dude. And he turns around, he's holding a big old sledgehammer thing, and it says help on it.
Mm-hmm. Rambling rabbit.
It's a big old rambling rabbit. You don't know who these superstars are yet. We can assume who they are, but
yeah, we have our guesses.
They have masks on yet, so
that's how we're going to treat them.
Right. They would then go through the curtain in Gorilla, and Gorilla is destroyed. Mm-hmm. There's nobody there. The monitors are destroyed. There's glass everywhere. There's literally blood everywhere, like out of a horror movie.
Yeah.
And they just pan to this character sitting. He's just sitting up on like a poach. He's got this long-haired mask on. I don't even know what he looked like. I guess it was like the Sparrow character.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Whatever the bird was.
The bird. But, I mean, there's blood everywhere here. And people laying everywhere. And you caught it. Braun Strowman is one of them, just laying there. Yeah. Battered and bruised and bloody. They would then go past Gorilla position, just into the hallway, straight hallway. And
as soon as they go out of that room into the next room where the hallway is, boom. Well, you see a figure in the back, but there's that other guy right there. Right?
Yeah, there's that other guy. There's that other guy, and it's he's dressed in like a gas mask, and then it pans, and Chad Gable is just covered in blood and knocked out next to something like a box, he just
like a road case, where they put all the equipment in.
And there's other bodies everywhere. I'm guessing by now people have slowed down the film and we can tell who all these people are. But again, we're right after it. But camera pans up, figure starts walking up. Mr. Uncle Howdy. Uncle Howdy has arrived. And it's just a slow walk. And he walks into Gorilla. You can see everybody's blood everywhere, lights flashing. It looks as horror movie as possible. Smoke. I mean, it is just high quality shit.
Yeah.
And they walk, and as he's walking past each character, they join him, and they walk all the way out. They take the exact same route that the cameraman went in, and they each walk up to the to Bray's lantern, and they're all together, huddled together. And Uncle Howdy picks up the lantern, and the most perfect callback. All he does is say, "We're here." Whew, blows it out. Woo! Uncle Howdy has arrived, and that was perfection. What a scene, man.
Yeah. Pop, pop, pop,
Pop,
pop,
pop,
pop,
pop,
pop. I mean, obviously, there's only 5. Supposed to be 6. We know who the 6th one is, who's obviously not here.
Yes.
But as we said, we can speculate the characters, who they are. We kind of know who they are, but we're going to address them until time goes on, as, you know, the rabbit and the bird. Mercy the buzzard. Yeah, that's what it was. And different things like that. But I mean, good Lord, everybody in the comments, it's going to be Chad Gable. It's going to be Jey Uso or Braun Strowman.
It was everybody.
The entire locker room. And we thought, you know, I had mentioned to a couple of you guys in the comments, and we talked a little bit as the night went on. Man, I really hope they don't debut the whole faction. I hope it's just one person.
Yeah.
And, you know, you have the woman walk out.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, she's going to be this week. And then you're like, okay, maybe next week we'll get somebody else. No. 5 out of the 6, whole faction. And I could not be more excited about it. I mean, just perfection.
Talk about expectations from a multi-month subtle buildup in a buildup that has never been done ever, with QR codes, you know, glitches, all this stuff, little stuff. And you build up months of expectations for a character that is coming from the mind of a guy who has passed and is so beloved. That expectation is just through the roof, and to do it in this fashion, it was just historic stuff. What a night to end Raw. One of the greatest endings to a wrestling show of all time. I mean, it was really that good.
Yeah, and I had some people text me and say, how do they follow this? How do they do this? How do they do it? I don't really care about
Who
that right
cares?
now. I'm taking this as right now, I'm going to enjoy this for what it was, for what we know right now. And God, it was, like you said, it far exceeded the expectations. People in the comments, I've seen people online, well, I'm not really excited for it. I'm not really happy for it. This is gonna fail. It's gonna flop. Well, did it really flop?
No.
Because I don't think so.
And I don't care what other people think. Just like, this is something that's, imagine for Bo, imagine a loved one pass and he leaves you with this just, you know, creative dream that they just never got to put out. And now WWE's letting them bring it to life. That's another level of just, I don't know, you get sentimental about it. It's just, that's amazing that something like this can even happen. This is the right way to do it. This is a perfect intro. I cannot wait for the following. I don't even want to, at this point, I don't even want the speculation of spoilers. This is a storyline that I just want to tune in every week and just see what happens next, man.
Yeah, and like you said, few month build up, something that's never been done before. I was thinking to myself as Raw went on, I don't ever remember somebody, you know, the openings get glitched, the QR codes, like all this stuff. They put so much effort into this, and it's like, man, they're really going all in on this. They're really going all in. How are they gonna meet these expectations? There's no way. And you could tell the effort and time and love and passion that they put into that. It was done so well. I don't know what my expectations were. I don't know what I thought was going to happen. But when I saw that, I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. Yep. And that's what it's about.
Golden pops, best pops we've ever given. Like, that's just great stuff. So anyway, that was our pop or drops of the week. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it, what your favorite moments are, and what you thought about the Uncle Howdy stuff. This is just a great time to be a wrestling fan, man. Follow us on all socials at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod. Listen to us wherever you get your podcasts at Spotify, Apple, etc. I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. We'll see you next time.